started the same way every morning. 7:05 a.m. Rain or shine, cold or blistering heat. A man named Raymond Hollis walked into the Cedar Brew Café, tucked into a quiet street in Ashmore, Washington, a small, picturesque town that rarely made headlines. Raymond wore the same navy wool coat, carried a leather briefcase that had clearly seen better days, and ordered the same thing, a black Americano extra hot. No sugar, no cream. To the baristas, he was Mr. Americano. Reserved, polite, predictable, but never rude. He always tipped $2 exactly, never lingered, always took his drink in a ceramic mug, not paper. Sat by the window for 20 minutes, reading something thick, usually a history book, then disappeared. No one questioned him. In a town full of loud characters, he was a silent mystery, comforting in his routine, until that Thursday morning, when Jamie, the 22-year-old barista, walked over to clear his table that day. She froze. Raymond's mug was still there, so was his book, but he was gone, and the inside of the mug was streaked with blood. Not just a drop, thick smears, as if someone had pressed their palm against the rim and dragged it. The book beside the mug, The Rise and Fall of Empires, had a dark, wet stain along its edge. Blood too, still warm. Jamie backed away, heart pounding. She called her manager. They called the police. What began as a routine cleanup turned into the most disturbing crime Ashmore had ever seen. Detective Lena Croft arrived within 15 minutes. She had been with Ashmore PD for 11 years and had never seen something like this. Surveillance showed Raymond walking in at 7:04 a.m. But here's where it got strange. There was no footage of him leaving. Not through the front, not the back, not even the side alley, which had a camera pointing directly at the dumpster. It was as if he had vanished. And when they ran his name through their systems, driver's license, employment, background, they hit a wall. Raymond Hollis had no criminal record, no listed relatives, no digital footprint except a rental apartment under his name, no social media, no cell phone. His existence was paper thin. Raymond's apartment was 6 blocks away, above a shuttered hardware store. Quiet, neat, clean, almost too clean. No family photos, no mementos, just books all about war, power, and psychology. His fridge had a week's worth of neatly labeled meals. But in the back of his closet, behind a row of pressed shirts, Lena found a hidden compartment in the floorboards. Inside, a burner phone, a handgun, and a stack of old newspaper clippings, all about missing women. One headline caught her eye. Young mother disappears on rural road. Baby found alive in car. Lena's breath caught in her throat. She remembered that case. From 7 years ago, a woman named Claire Whitmore. Claire had vanished. Her infant son had been found buckled in the back seat, alive and crying. The case had gone cold. Until now. The next breakthrough came from someone unexpected. A bookstore clerk named Hannah, who worked at the used bookshop Raymond frequented. She remembered him well. He'd always ask for books on criminal profiling, she said. But he wasn't creepy. He was sharp, like he was studying someone. When Lena pressed her, Hannah hesitated, then confessed something odd. Last month, he asked if we had anything about cold cases in Washington, specifically ones where the suspect was never caught. He hadn't been researching random crimes. He'd been hunting for someone. In Raymond's hidden stash, Lena found a notebook. No names, just initials, dates, towns, and case file numbers. When they traced 3 of the numbers, they all connected to unsolved disappearances, women who went missing across different counties over a span of 15 years. There was a pattern. Each woman had a child under the age of 3. Each was last seen in isolated areas. Each case had strange inconsistencies. Missing evidence, bad camera angles, delayed police response. Someone had covered their tracks carefully. Raymond wasn't the killer. He had been trying to find the killer. And now he was missing too. Lena widened the net. She called detectives in surrounding towns and discovered a whisper network. Off-the-record talks, old suspicions, files that got misplaced. The same man kept being whispered about. Peter Callahan, a former state trooper who quietly resigned after a disciplinary investigation. But nothing had stuck. He had been on duty near 3 of the disappearances. But here's the catch. He had retired, bought land outside Ashmore, and lived 30 minutes from the Cedar Brew Café. Peter Callahan's property spanned 40 acres. Wooded, gated, private. When Lena requested a search warrant, the judge was hesitant. No direct evidence. No body. Just suspicion. But Jamie, the barista, offered a game-changing detail. I saw someone staring through the cafe window that morning, before Raymond came in. I thought it was nothing. But now he had a limp. Peter Callahan had a documented limp from a past injury. That was enough. The warrant was approved. What they found would shake Ashmore to its core. Deep in the woods, buried beneath an old shed on Callahan's property, police found a metal vault. It had reinforced steel walls, a digital lock. Inside was a room no one was supposed to see. Soundproofed, no windows, chains bolted to the walls, bloodstains, a child's pacifier, and on a crude cot, dried blood matching Raymond's DNA. He'd been there. He'd been tortured. But he wasn't there anymore. There was no body, just one clue, scratched into the metal wall with a fingernail. CW November 12, 18. I know. Claire Whitmore. The date she vanished. Raymond had known, and Peter had found out. It all began to unravel. Peter Callahan, once respected, had constructed a facade of law and order. But beneath it was a trail of broken women, destroyed lives, and a hunger for power and control. He hadn't killed for rage or impulse. He had stalked, studied, prayed, hid. And when Raymond, who had once been engaged to Claire Whitmore, got close, Peter made him disappear too. Only this time he left traces, because Raymond had started leaking information, sending letters to Claire's sister, mailing flash drives to old detectives, spreading breadcrumbs. He knew he wouldn't survive, but he wanted Peter to burn. Peter Callahan was arrested. In his basement, they found hidden files, trophies, locks of hair, children's toys, phone recordings. The trial lasted 6 weeks. The testimonies were gut-wrenching. Raymond's cousin testified, Claire's sister, one of the victims who had escaped years ago but was too terrified to speak. Peter never showed remorse, but the jury gave no mercy. Guilty on all counts. Life without parole. 2 weeks after the verdict, Lena received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a letter from Raymond. It had been written weeks before he vanished. He knew he was being watched. He knew Peter would act. But he didn't care. I have to finish what Claire started. If I don't make it, promise me one thing. Let people know the truth. She wasn't just a name on a file. She was love. She was fire. And so were the others. At the bottom, a list of 5 more initials. 5 more cold cases. His work wasn't done. Ashmore changed. Cedar Brew Café put up a plaque on the window where Raymond always sat, in memory of those who refused to stay silent. Raymond's research helped solve 3 more cases. 5 families finally got closure. And Lena, she kept digging. She started a unit focused on cold case corruption, because justice delayed was still justice. Jamie kept the mug, not to glorify what happened, but to remember that sometimes the quietest people are the ones fighting the loudest battles. That routine doesn't mean peace, and that evil often hides in plain sight. Every time she looked at it, she saw not just blood, but sacrifice. Raymond hadn't been a victim. He'd been a soldier. In the end, it wasn't the badge or the court that brought justice. It was persistence. It was someone who loved too deeply to forget, who refused to let a monster keep winning. And though Raymond never walked back into the cafe, he never truly left. His story echoed in every sip, every sunrise, every mother who finally knew where her daughter went. Because sometimes, it takes one man's silence to make the whole world listen.